They are young and desperate to be heard. Many of them say they cannot sit back and watch as usual how their future is determined by others, but will be actively involved in making that crucial decision of who presides over the affairs of the world's most populous black nation, Nigeria.
You need to inject and support the economy for economic growth, which will in turn make people, the more you're robust.
Contrary to what many people know, Peter Obi, the symbol of this hope, began his journey several years ago when he spoke the minds of those who feel the country cannot sustain the wasteful pattern of government. At this time, politics in Nigeria has become the most lucrative business, where the future of the emerging generation is recklessly mortgaged on things with little or no value on the realistic well-being of the people. While majority of people in public service cared for their bellies, Peter Obi was different. At a time when many state governors dragged their states into the pits of debt, Mr. Obi, while leaving office as the governor of Anambra State in 2014, handed over 80 billion naira to his successor. The 61-year-old graduate of the University of Nigeria was a successful businessman and banker before joining politics in 2003, when he contested and won the governorship of Anambra State on the platform of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA. His victory was delayed till March 2006 before being restored by the court. It was insistence that his tenure was not over in 2007, a position affirmed by the Supreme Court that gave birth to off-season governorship elections in Nigeria. By 2019, he had joined the People's Democratic Party (PDP) and was nominated as the vice presidential candidate to Atiku Abubakar. They both lost to the incumbent government. While others withdrew to wait for another election, Peter Obi kept awakening the hope of citizens that a new Nigeria is indeed possible. He insisted that the country can become a producing economy against the consumer it has become. At the turn of political activities, Mr. Obi found a platform in the Labour Party.
Hereby declare Peter Obi as the flag bearer of Labour Party.
Perhaps the most interesting thing about Obi's presidential campaign is the demographic of the supporters. Young Nigerians who are hungry for a different kind of government, and their movement became known as the Obedient. This crop of young political enthusiasts are changing the narrative as far as youth participation in politics is concerned. Showing up in their hundreds or maybe even thousands, the Obedients staged rallies in some states in Nigeria as well as abroad.
The Obedient movement means a lot to me because I'm Nigerian. I grew up born and raised in Nigeria, and I watched Nigeria move from a country with great prospects to the current situation that it is now. And it's personal to me because Nigeria happened to me in different ways. And I lost 2 family members because of the state of nation in Nigeria.
Obedients see Peter Obi as a beacon of hope for a better Nigeria. They believe he is different in several ways, particularly in how he engages Nigerians. They believe his fingers are not soiled from frequent tampering with the people's commonwealth.
I genuinely think he's the one, and that's because he's speaking the language of the people finally.
Senate no go swallow our money again.
Yes.
Babu no go swallow our money again.
But regardless of how interesting the Obedient movement may seem, critics have pointed out that it isn't airtight. Absence of recognized leadership may pose a coordination challenge that can mar the achievements of the set goals. Closing the gap between the massive youth population who may not have been voting in the past and the traditional voters at the grassroots may hold the key. As for obedience abroad, Nigeria still does not practice diaspora voting. So how relevant will their enthusiasm be if they cannot add to the numbers on election day?
You'll be surprised at the number of foreign-based Nigerians who have their flights already booked for the upcoming elections.
And perhaps the biggest of all questions will be, what happens to the movement if Peter Obi doesn't win?
We continue.
With the official commencement of campaigns, the election bells are ringing louder. Whether or not Peter Obi becomes Nigeria's next president remains to be seen. However, one thing is certain: Nigerians will for a long time remember this third horse that came and took the country's political landscape by storm. Bernard Akede, reporting for News Central.